Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. I've wanted to say that for a while, and I haven't gotten to, and now I've said it. Today, we're going to talk about the new bracket system that Magic the Gathering has released. I'm a little concerned about it. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't, on first glance, it's an extremely confusing thing, but I feel like you just need to fully familiarize yourself with it and also understand that this is the beta. They are looking for feedback. So let's look at it and give some feedback. Don't mind my makeup, by the way. I'm celebrating Valentine's Day. So they're saying that nothing is really gonna change for people that play Magic the Gathering. You're still gonna continue doing it without really digging in. But because we play a lot online, I feel like this is really important because we have the Rule Zero conversation with a lot of different people. So here's the overview. There are 5 commander brackets. Each one is meant to classify a different kind of game experience. Brackets 1, 2, and 3 are different levels of socially focused play. Brackets 4 and 5 are focused on a higher power or even a competitive experience. More on that in a minute. In each bracket description, you'll also find guidance around 4 kinds of effects that can really impact games: 2-card infinite combos, extra turns, mass land denial, and tutors. For things other than land, they specify, noting where and how you should expect to see them. For a little bit of additional definition around mass land denial, this is a category of card that most commander players find frustrating. So to emphasize it up front, you should not expect to see these cards anywhere in brackets 1 to 3. These cards regularly destroy, exile, and bounce other lands, keep lands tapped, or change what mana is produced by 4 or more lands per player without replacing them. Examples in this category are Armageddon, Ruination, Sunder, Winter Orb, and Blood Moon. Basically, any cards and common game plans that mess with several of people's lands or the mana they produce should not be in your deck if you're seeking to play in brackets 1 to 3. So in bracket 1, they specify that it's ultra casual, no mass land denial or extra turns, no 2-card infinites, no game changers, and few tutors. And then 2 is the average current pre-constructed deck, so precons, what is released by Wizards themselves. Then 3 is upgraded. Beyond the strength of an average precon deck, there's still no mass land denial, you're not chaining extra turns, and you're allowed to have late game 2-card infinites, and 3 game changers are fine. 3 out of 99. 4 is optimized. High power commander, it's time to go wild. No restrictions other than the banned list. And then of course 5 is going to be CEDH, which is high power with a very competitive and meta game focused mindset. So let's look at exhibition. Throw down with your ultra casual commander deck. Winning is not the primary goal, as it's more about showing off something unusual you've made. The games here are likely to go long and end slowly. Just focus on having fun and enjoy what the table has brought. It's like a stack of cards. There's nothing going on, basically. Okay, so bracket 2 is core. The easiest reference point is that the average current pre-constructed deck is at a core bracket 2 level. Bracket 2 decks may not have every perfect card. They have the potential for big splashy turns, strong engines, and are built in a way that works towards winning the game. While the game is unlikely to end out of nowhere and generally goes 9 or more turns, you can expect big swings. The deck usually has some cards that aren't perfect from a gameplay perspective, but are there for flavor reasons. And then let's look at upgraded. These decks are souped up and ready to play beyond the strength of an average precon. They are full of carefully selected cards, with work having gone into figuring out the best card for each slot. The games tend to be a little faster as well, ending a turn or 2 sooner than your core. Bracket 2 decks. Bracket 4 is optimized. It's time to go wild. Bring out your strongest decks and cards. You can expect to see explosive starts, strong tutors, cheap combos that end games, mass land destruction, or a deck full of cards off the game changers list. This is high-powered commander, and games have the potential to end quickly. The focus here is on bringing the best version of the deck you want to play, but not one built around a tournament metagame. It's about shuffling up your strong and fully optimized deck, whatever it may be, and seeing how it fares. For most commander players, these are the highest power commander decks you will interact with. There are no restrictions, other than the banned list. I don't really want to talk about CEDH, because CEDH is just vastly out of my realm. The truest CEDH decks I have seen, let's be honest, were created by a group of people. That deck is so fully optimized, they've completely trimmed the fat off of literally everything, and that was created by a group of people. So I feel like CEDH is there's a massive leap between 4 and 5 in my opinion. So for the game changers list, I want to focus really hard on the game changers list because I have some concerns about it. They think it'll be a huge help for matchmaking and understanding the format. Game changers dramatically warp commander games, allowing players to run away with resources shift games in ways that many players dislike, block people from play, efficiently search for their strongest cards, or have commanders that tend to take away from more casual games. So in white, the game changers are Janeth Magistrate, Enlightened Tutor, Sarah's Sanctum, Smothering Tithe, and Trouble in Pairs. For blue, Cyclonic Rift, Expropriate, Force of Will, Fierce Guardianship, Rhystic Study, Thassa's Oracle, Urza, Lord High Artificer, Mystical Tutor, Jin, Gitaxias. In black, we've got Bolus's Citadel, Demonic Tutor, Imperial Seal, Opposition Agent, Tergrid, God of Fright, Vampiric Tutor, Ad Nauseam. And then in red, we've got Jessica's Will, Underworld Breach. That's it. In green, we've got Survival of the Fittest, Vorinclex, Gaia's Cradle. And in multicolor, we've got Kinnan, Yuriko, Winota, Grand Arbiter. In colorless, we've got Ancient Tomb, Chrome Mox, The One Ring, Tabernacle, Trinisphere, Grim Monolith, Lion's Eye, Mox Diamond, Mana Vault, and Glacial Chasm. First of all, I actually was sent this earlier today, which I think is a better version of the list. I like it a lot. I think that this does a better job of describing what the intention was behind the bracket system and what they mean by each of the brackets. Okay, let me show you what my decks are being called in Moxfield. Okay, because I don't know if you guys know this, but Moxfield is automatically bracketing all of our decks now. And all of my decks are 4s, minus my CEDH list, which obviously is CEDH, so it's a 5. All of my decks, including my Olivia, which is my weakest deck, by the way. They're all 4s. And you want to know why they're 4s? Let's look at Siona, because it tells you. It's because she has unlimited game changers. She's got Smothering Tithe, Survival of the Fittest, Gaia's Cradle, Sarah's Sanctum, Mox Diamond, and Enlightened Tutor. And then on top of that, she also has tutors. Wow, tutors are being counted against me twice. So I've got a lot of tutors in here that search for my infinite combo. I'm not gonna like sit here and pretend that Siona is not strong. Because she is. She can win on turn 3 if I had the perfect hand, but that is an extremely rare instance. And her win con is very interruptible. And then let's look at Olivia, who, in my opinion, is between a 5 and a 6 when I play her. The reason why she's being estimated at a bracket 4 is because of Demonic Tutor, Bolus's Citadel, Underworld Breach, Mox Diamond, Chrome Mox, and Vampiric Tutor. And she's got those 3 tutors, Demonic, Grim, and Vampiric. But look at this deck list. Look at it. It sucks. My Olivia deck never wins in its old form. I've been messing with her a little bit. She's very weak, easily probably a 5 on the old scale. And then Kalia as well. The reason why she's being marked as a bracket 4 is because of Mox Diamond, Chrome Mox, Enlightened Tutor, and Vampiric Tutor. She also has Armageddon in here. It says Unlimited Mass Land Denial. There's one card in this deck that is Mass Land Denial. And that's unlimited. They don't think that Mass Land Denial should be in casual is what they're saying. I think Armageddon's a dick card, okay? And I barely ever actually cast it. I use it as like a political piece. I think this deck, realistically, if we look at these, and we look at the descriptions, she is thoughtfully designed and she's powered up by synergy. I think she's a 3. I don't think she's a 4. She's not turbocharged. And to be frankly honest with you, these game changers that we're talking about, I barely ever use any form of... They don't do anything when I play them. See, I think the only decks in my list here that are genuinely 4s is Siona and Zada. But I also have a little bit of a problem with them saying that these shouldn't be social focused. Because I enjoy high-powered commander, and I guess a lot of you do too, because we're all here together, right? I'm not very good at CEDH, but I enjoy high-powered. So, and these decks are certainly not the highest power commander decks that you're going to ever interact with. They're still very low-powered compared to a lot of high-powered stuff. They don't go wild. I think we have very, very different definitions of wild. This deck, I'm happy if I can just put Death Touch on her and ping things. That's all I can do. Every time I play her, I'm just like, hee hee, ping, ping. That's it. For my Kalia deck, I mainly just get her out and try to win with Avacyn compared with a bunch of other of my high-powered creatures, but mainly she just gets removed to oblivion and I never do anything with her. She's like a 6. She's a power level 6. Yeah, Avacyn with Armageddon, it's a win condition, and I would only ever cast it if I was about to win. You know what I mean? The biggest problem with this old way was that it was too ambiguous. Everybody had a different definition for what living on the edge was, you know, what playing with power was, stuff like that. And I feel like we're running into the same problem with these because I feel like there's different levels to each of these. I think too that like us as a community, we're gonna have to continue to rely on Rule Zero to create balanced games. Like, for example, our game that we just played was a really great balanced game. We played for 2.5 hours. Everybody got to do their thing. Everybody got to have a lot of fun. I forget how many turns we went to. That deck I played, my Alila deck, in its new form, I betcha they would probably call it a 4, and I would probably agree that it's a 4. I just don't like, I think what I'm having a really hard time wrapping my head around is trying to understand how having 3 powerful cards in my 99 card deck makes my deck, my whole deck, optimized enough to say it's high powered. You know what I mean? And like these cards, I just don't understand what makes them, out of the hundreds of cards in Magic the Gathering, what makes them the most important 40 cards. The ones that make the game change so much that they're the ones that are going to determine whether or not your commander deck is high powered or casual. It's wild to me that they mention Winter Orb up here in Mass Land Denial, but it's not in Game Changers. Like that blows my mind. But if it's already covered by the Mana Denial category, why are there tutors in Game Changers? So if we're saying that Winter Orb is already covered, why are there tutors in Game Changers? I'm lucky enough to own things like Chromox, right? Which is a pretty expensive card. So you exile a non-artifact, non-land card from your hand, and then you add 1 mana of the exiled card's color to your mana pool. It's a pretty strong card, not gonna lie, but I run it in everything because I have it. I don't think this card makes any of my decks inherently better. Like so much better that it should be fully optimized. I definitely think synergy should play a way bigger role in how a deck is handled, and I think that you should just be able to sit down and have a conversation and say that here's my commander, here's what it does. Here's between this turn and this turn, it usually wins depending on my hand, and then this is how consistently I can win, and then here are my win cons. And I think that if we could all just be that open and honest about it, we could be having really great balanced games. But people like to lie. And it's just, as seasoned players though, we should be more willing and able to help walk other players through that process too, of being able to understand what their decks do and being able to answer those questions. I have a really big problem with people wanting their decks to be a surprise. I think that's weird. Until you're actively in a game, there's no reason to be secret about anything, okay? If people ask you a question, you should just answer it. And like, I don't know about you guys, but I can have a Rule Zero conversation with somebody and still forget what's in their deck. I'll still forget. They'll tell me what their win con is and they'll be really upfront and honest about it. I'll still forget. I am terrible at retaining information. My memory is trash. I'm having a really hard time with the bracket system, and I don't know if it's because I'm stupid or if it's just I don't think it works. I don't think that it's going to lead to good things, because I feel like I'm just gonna say, hey, technically my deck is a 4, and then people are gonna stop listening after that. They're gonna be like, oh, your deck is a 4? I don't want to play with you. Even though my decks, yeah, they're 4s. Okay, cool, whatever. They're not powerhouses. They don't pub stomp. I suppose if we think a 4 is like a 7 and an 8, then yeah, Zada and Siona, they're 4s, for sure, solid. I think that all of my other decks are 3s. I don't think that's gonna lead to very balanced games either. If I removed the game changers in any of my Olivia deck, nothing bad would happen to the deck, I'm pretty sure. I'd be really sad. I like being able to go look for like answers. I think mainly I use it for looking for like, if I need an enchantment or something, like I'll go grab, I'll grab like, you know, some silly like Shadow Spear or some shit. No, I'll probably grab Basilisk Collar. I don't use tutors in the way that I think they're thinking is a game changer. I'm using it to look for specific answers in the moment. Like, do I need some removal? Okay, let me go grab something to solve a problem, is what I usually use tutors for in this deck. In my Kalia deck, I'm using the tutors to go grab protection for Kalia because I have a really hard time drawing into her protection. Most of these I'm grabbing either Avacyn if I don't have it already, or I'm grabbing protection for Kalia. Siona, 100%, 1000% is a 4. I will not argue with you there. She's very consistent, very good at what she does. She has a specific game plan. She can come back from removal. She's very strong. Zada as well, I think is a 4. I think it's just really funny that Zada is a 4 because she has land denial. She's got the blood moons. She's got the moons. And then she's got unlimited tutors. She's got Gamble. And she's got Underworld Breach, Mox Diamond, Chromox, Ancient Tomb, and Jessica's Will. I really only played the blood moons when I cast and I pull it in games where people are getting out of hand. Like, I'm not gonna do it just because. And maybe that's the difference. People that, like, their decks can efficiently run at super high level powered if they're ruthless, but they're choosing not to be ruthless. Maybe that, I don't know. I guess I'm just worried. Like, Siona's my favorite deck to play, and I'm worried if I bring it to a table of people I've never played with before, and I'm like, she's a 4. They're never gonna play with me, and I'm never gonna get to play my Siona. That's what I'm worried about. But I can play Siona as a super chill deck. Did I get to a good thought, Lucian? I'm gonna write down the timestamp. Was that a good thought? I don't know. I'm having a really hard time with thoughts right now. Yeah, intent is definitely not something that's very measurable. Imagine if somebody is making me want to be petty. That's how we should judge the scaling.